Welcome to Van Life with Steve, and thank you so much for joining me for our second day at America's Super Park, Yellowstone National Park. So I boondocked just outside of West Yellowstone, so it's a really great experience driving east into the park, and you got this great sunrise, and it's also really cool to drive the steam that's coming up from those hot springs and fumaroles. So we're going to forego the park summary because I did that in the previous Yellowstone episode. I'll put a card in one of the corners if you want to go check that out to get my rundown on Yellowstone Park. And here we're heading east to the Hayden Valley, and we're going to observe some wildlife. And that is the Yellowstone River there in the foreground. So here's some bison that were grazing on the side of the road, and the Hayden Valley is known to be a great place to spot wildlife. So of course these are North American bison, which are the largest land animals in North America. And what's special about the Yellowstone bison is that these are genetically pure bison. Back when the bison was nearly hunted to extinction, the herd in Yellowstone was actually protected, and so their genetic line goes all way back into ancient times. A lot of bison in North America, to help get the population numbers back up after the overhunting, have been interbred with cattle. However, these bison have not. And there's a good looking fellow right there, just dusting himself off. So there was a pretty good crowd this morning. One thing I'll mention is, as we take another look at the Hayden Valley, there's a ton of bison in Yellowstone. And so if you get to a spot and all the turnouts have been filled up, that's okay. Just keep going to your destination. I guarantee you're going to see some bison in Yellowstone Park. They're everywhere. So we're going to take a little break from the bison, and we're going to head down to Yellowstone Lake just for a quick peek. This is the highest elevated large lake in America, and in the distance there, that is the Yellowstone caldera. So now we're going to head back. Here's some elk. And we'll look around the Yellowstone River here. Now we'll stop at the Mud Volcano Trail. So as we look around the Mud Volcano Trail, if you're enjoying this content, I'd appreciate it so much if you please give me a like. I went to 26 national parks, and I'm going to have videos on all of them. So if you want to see more of these types of videos, please consider subscribing and turning on the bell for notifications. Also, if you've had a special experience at Yellowstone National Park, I'd really love to hear about it. So please comment below and let me know about your time at the park. Thank you so much, and let's continue with the video. Closest to us is the Black Dragon's Cauldron, and in the distance is the Sour Lake. And here is the aforementioned Mud Volcano. Pretty interesting. And here's the Dragon's Mouth Spring. Now, all of the springs and fumaroles and everything you see here, these things are all super hot, and many of them are acidic. So don't go try to put your hand in the water, don't try to bathe in them, anything like that. People have died at Yellowstone doing that, and it's a pretty bad way to go. So always stay on the trails. And here we'll take in some views of the valley. Yellowstone, it's not quite to the same extent as Olympic National Park, but it has a very, very diverse set of ecology and topography. Really amazing, all the different types of environments you can see. So now we're going to head back up the Grand Loop Road and meet up with the same bison herd from earlier. Here, I believe, is an example of bison quiet quitting. They just said, nope, I'm not going to bison today. No thank you. And we'll take a look at the bison here along the river. Here are two young bulls here putting themselves to the test. Now, bison can weigh over 2,000 pounds, and despite their lethargic demeanor, they can actually run up to 45 miles an hour, and this guy that's wallowing is going to show you a little glimpse of that power here. Yeah, it's just a short little charge there, but these guys can really get up and go. Always maintain a safe distance from bison, which is 25 yards or 75 feet. So now we'll head over to the upper falls of the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone, and here is a view of the absolutely incredible lower falls. This is really an amazing site, one of my top sites in all of the United States. But there came a very strong thunderstorm, and I wish I had some footage of it. I don't know what happened to my dash cam footage, but yeah, a lot of trees started coming down and they fell on cars that were driving, and gotta give a lot of credit to the Park Service because they had all that stuff cleaned up really, really quickly. So I waited out the thunderstorm out there in the valley, and then when things calmed down, I went and took a look at some more fumaroles. And here is a look at Sheepeater Cliff, which is a smaller example of the basalt columns, similar to those in Devil's Tower. So now I'm going to head north to Mammoth Hot Springs because it was looking like it was going to rain over there by the canyon for the rest of the day. And the drive to Mammoth Hot Springs is really terrific. You get a good look at a lot of mountains and you got a lot of rocks, and it's a really, really cool drive. So Mammoth Hot Springs is a collection of travertine terraces that are formed by hot springs that deposit calcium carbonate through thermal vents. So these hot springs are actually fed from the water that comes from the Norris Geyser Basin, which we're not going to see in the series. That travels up to Mammoth Hot Springs through a fault line, and the water passes through limestone and then pushes the minerals up as it rises to the surface. And these springs are also very hot, so don't go walking to them or put your hands in them or anything. The brownish colors are created by algae similar to the Grand Prismatic Spring. In the far distance there, you can see a glimpse of Fort Yellowstone, which is the park headquarters and has a great deal of historical significance regarding the history of Yellowstone National Park. And with that, we're going to say goodbye to the Mammoth Hot Springs. I thought this area was okay, but I do kind of feel like it's maybe the weakest area of Yellowstone National Park. So now we're heading out of the park with a gorgeous sunset, and look at that yellowish glow there on the sky. It was a great sight to see as I left the park. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I appreciate you so much, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks and take care. Bye.